Jeremiah, just talk about Grayson. For some reason, he targets the tight ends pretty good. Just talk about your relationship with him and how you work together.
Um, I think part of the reason we have such a good relationship, I do room with him on the hotel, so it'd be kind of weird if, he just overlooked me in the game. But no, I think part of the reason is if you go out there and look, you see everybody outside working, and I think that Grayson does a good job pulling people and trying to get them to do some extra reps after practice, being like, here's what he sees and what he thinks he's going to see in the game. So we try to replicate that after practice. So that's what we like doing.
Do you think because of his time spent here and just being more of a veteran that Grayson gives kind of a different type of leadership to the field than Dylan does?
I think experience definitely comes to play with that stuff. It's hard to be like fresh on the field and really be like that real field general. Which is why whenever you see Dylan, you're out there and you're like, wow, it's very impressive that he can do what he does do because he's still fresh. And I think it's actually a really big compliment to Dylan that he is able to do that. He was having a great year. He's still doing great. And I think it's a really big kudos to him. And obviously, with experience, Grayson, he knows what to expect out there of our people. And I think since he's been on the team longer, it does help Grayson a lot in that area. So,
Just we've seen the emergence of a great two tight end set with you and Kalen. Just what have you seen from his development, and what does he come and ask you to help him with?
yeah, we were actually just out there working, so I think he does a good job of getting extra work, like we try to preach with everyone, and he does bring a good element of like a change of pace. You could do a lot of different things. He's very versatile, and that's what we like to have our tight ends try to be like, be as versatile as possible, fit wherever you want to be, wherever it's, or fit wherever they want us to go, whether it's like run, pass, whatever. We're all trying to be over there and help the offense as much as possible.
SMU has the most sacks and the most interceptions in the ACC. Can you describe what the challenges that presents to you as a tight end, blocking and catching, all that stuff?
Yeah, I think that means that you have to be like really detailed whenever you're going against opponents like that, because that just shows you how smart and athletic they are. And once ever you have your details down, you got to go back and just trust what you know and trust your fundamentals. At the end of the day, whenever you're going against an opponent that have these good statistics, I think it's really important to make sure that you're keyed in on the details, the rules, wherever they want you to be and wherever other people are going. Because if you want the QB setting up 5 yards behind the tight end, you got to make sure you're setting out a little bit wider so you can stuff them quicker and stuff like that. It's just really about details and make sure you're on your stuff.
It's Red Bandana Week. You've been a part of it now. How significant is this week for you guys?
Yeah, I try to preach, every team you play, it's, no face mentality, but obviously it's hard to be like, red bandana, oh, it's still another game. No, red bandana definitely means something. And, like you said, I've been a part of 3 other red bandanas, and every single time I think it just brings a whole new level of juice that you got to be able to just maintain the whole time on the field, because it's one thing to come out and have the juice, but you got to finish it and keep going. Key example was Michigan State last year. We had juice the whole way, and that's what led us to the win. That's key to most games, really. Just keep on going the whole time, and you can beat anybody.
For the young guys that haven't been a part of it yet, do you have to kind of warn them to not get too juiced up too early?
Yeah, you can kind of warn them about pretty much anything. It's easy to say that about young guys for a lot of games that they go into, because they're a little bit inexperienced in terms of handling that type of noise, I guess. And yeah, red bandana, it is going to be different because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a wilder environment, to try and get everybody going. And that's definitely a key to tell the younger guys, just be where your feet are, be ready to make any play. And, even though you're young, it doesn't really matter how young you are. You're on the field, you got to do your job.
You were obviously there for the Fenway Bowl in '23, and last year, obviously, you guys matched up again with SMU. Just what do you remember about that game? It was really physical. The weather was, played a big component in that. And how do you feel like it's kind of, when you look back at it, how do you feel like it's kind of reminiscent for what maybe will happen on Saturday?
Yeah, it was a very physical game. We did a lot of running because it was very wet and slushy. We was all going around, pretty much like last bowl game. It was super wet. You know, we try to go out there and just be as physical as possible, because at the end of the day, like the person who can sustain longer is just gonna be the one on top. So whenever you face a team like that, and going back on the Fenway Bowl, it was really just about you are where you are. Now you got to do it. Like there's no turning back. That's where you are. You know, you put the pads on. You're on the field. You just got to go. At the end of the day, you just got to go. You got to fight, and you got to pull something out.
Outside of Clemson and Pitt, you guys have been in pretty much every game. It's been close late in the third quarter, early in the fourth. Have you seen anything different late in the game versus early in the game that's led to those collapses?
You just got to. It's really about details. You just have to be more detailed, and you have to be more focused. You know, there's a lot of times where you get tired in the game. You just got to make sure who are you working for? You're doing it for your guy next to you. You're doing it for your family. Whoever you're doing it for, you just got to remember, keep going. Game's not over till it's over. Anything can happen. You know, there's been times where we were up. There's been times we've been trailing. You know, we've won, lost. We've seen it throughout the years of BC. It's all just about keep going. Like, you got to maintain. You got to sustain. Just do everything throughout the end of the game till you hear that last whistle.